Yes.
There's a thin line between heroism and madness.
Here the line fades to nothing at all. This is a world of capes and lunatics.
And nothing is off limits.
Hello and welcome to the Capes and Lunatics episode. I think this is 47. I am Phil. Look, Charlie's back. I'm back in the wilds of Canada.
Back from or back in?
Back in.
Yeah.
I can look straight at her now instead of having to go, oh yeah, what did you think? I love you being here live, but I didn't know if I should look at the camera, look at you. Like,
I know, it was so confusing.
This is why it's best that we're all in separate states or countries.
by law, we all have
And never shall they meet in between.
The nerd power is just too great. It becomes a concentration, and we may become a nerd singularity in those moments.
Oh, good Lord.
Thank goodness Tyler didn't show when we all did meet, because if all four of us were there, it would be a nerd inversion.
Good Lord.
I'm saying it would happen.
Lent's over, Lilith. That's all I got to say. Lent is over.
Lent is over. But I learned a lot about myself. I became a better person. I really feel that I grew spiritually during Lent, and that's all you're supposed to do during Lent. That, get closer to that divine, move towards apotheosis.
Yeah, coming out of the gate hot. Well, no, I just thought at the last minute, and I was looking up for C2E2's this weekend in Chicago, so of course none of us are there. I was looking for news. I really didn't see. Did anyone see like big news?
It's April. It's slow.
Okay, so there is a rumor. There's two. The biggest news I heard is that they are going to be relaunching the Ultimate Universe. That way, I think.
I remember. I did see that yesterday.
Ultimate Universe is coming back because that one they can totally New 52 and just say it's just the new universe. We're just redoing the universe right from the start. We can just do that. That is our little pocket of a DC world that we can just reboot whenever we feel like.
And are they going to and they want to reboot that now for a fresh taste now that Bendis is gone?
Maybe.
I like the Ultimate Universe, so
I wonder. I'm wondering too if Bendis is gone. Are they going to put some of the like newer legacy characters over there, like Riri Williams? You could have a Jane Foster Thor over there.
nobody wants that.
Well, they'll stack two different universes and be like, "Do you want this? Then you can buy this universe. If you want your classic stuff, buy over here."
The fact of the matter is, the whole purpose of the Ultimate Universe was, as I said, and I'm being facetious when I say it's like the DC universe; they can just reboot it whenever they feel like. That is literally it was its point where they said, "What if we could deal with all of our legacy characters, but not have to deal with a legacy? What if we could reimagine them, but you know what? We could kill off Aunt May. We could bring Bucky back. We could have things change and really alter in this universe." And of course, what they realize is that basically, when you do that, eventually you just start destroying the entire universe and killing everyone. Because at the end of the day, the reality is that if superpowered beings existed, humanity wouldn't. Because basically, it's like nuclear weapons. If nuclear weapons could just decide to go off.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if they're going to shuffle those legacy characters over there, because Marvel seems to be in the mode of have their cake and eat it too. Because did you see once this new refresh takes hold, they're going to have, everything's going to be renumbered at number 1, but they're also going to have that legacy numbering on there.
Yeah, why not?
So you like old numbering? We got it. If you want new number 1 every 6 months, you got that too.
Yeah, well, you know what? In the number ones, when there's going to be a new. It's how you know a new creative direction for a book. But this book has been around for this period, so this is our standardized legacy numbering. But just now we're in this new direction. Now it's, Bendis 3 since 2023.
I just thought they got, I thought most of the fans were like, you know what, we don't care, but we don't need a new number 1 every 6 months. It gets confusing. It's
Yeah, well, that's why they're going to keep the legacy numbering, but they do. Yeah,
No, go ahead.
they want to be able to still event it when they're going to change creative teams. So basically what I'll say is that probably every time you get a new creative team, it's going to be a new number one. Because this is the new number one for Soul writing the book. And this is the new number one for, Ramita Jr. doing the art. Or this is the new number one for, I don't know that many creators or artists anymore, but
I just thought the fans took a number two on the idea of having a number one every 6 months.
Yeah. Oh, why do you gotta be that way? We're trying to do a high class show. We're trying to do a high class show for a high class crowd with the sign on the door.
All right, high class. Bring me my tea and crumpets.
Yes.
I say.
Need to get that jazz.
Charles. Oh, uncouth. I am sorry.
Exactly. Rather.
But no, the only other C2E2 news I saw, I just sent Lilith the link a couple minutes ago. I guess Catwoman's getting another ongoing series.
Okay.
Issue 1 drops July 4th, same day as Batman 50, the marriage issue.
I mean,
they're gonna
here's
milk
what
that.
I'll say about a Catwoman. What happens in a Catwoman book?
Crime, murder, intrigue.
Well, I mean,
yeah, but is she fighting crime? Is she causing crime? Is she
a little bit of both.
That 90s series, she was creating crimes. There was even an arc where she tried to run for mayor of New York. There was
New York.
Oh yeah, during No Man's Land, she ran. Yeah.
Ran Gotham or ran New York?
No, she ran away from Gotham and ran to New York.
Catwoman is an interesting character that they don't know what to do with.
In the DC universe.
But
all the cities exist in. We just on top all our cities are on top of everything else too.
But I mean, they're just but that early 2000 series, Lilith, I mean, they kind of painted her as more of an anti-hero. That's when they brought out that cool goggle look in and stuff. And once she figured out who Bruce Wayne was, she was basically another member of the Bat family.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, but I mean, they're milking that. They're gonna milk the heck out of that wedding.
Well, yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah. Well, basically, in 2 years' time, Alfred's gonna get shot, and in order to save Alfred's life, he's gonna have to make a deal with Darkseid to undo the wedding.
No, Neuron. That is not the devil.
Neuron, whoever their devil character is. But yeah, so it's like, oh, Alfred, I can't live without you. I'm 193. Please let me go, Master Bruce.
He's not gonna,
really, I want to go to the Happy Hunting Grounds.
He's not pulling a Parker.
He's gonna pull up.
He just throws him in the Lazarus pit. Come on, be serious.
He's not pulling a Parker.
Oh.
Yes.
See?
That's the new Parker.
This is the
Iron Spider from Infinity War.
Oh, trust me, Charlie. I opened it and said, "Oh, Spider-Man." She goes, "No, Iron Spider."
Yeah. Oh, so we're using our made-up names, huh?
I can't wait for that movie. What is it? 20 days?
Yeah, it's going to be great. And we get to see Dinklage in the role he was born to play.
Mark our words. It's Mephisto.
He will be. He will be, and you know what? Because it makes perfect sense. Because who could be a more charming and surprisingly sexy sociopath than Hiddleston? Dinklage. You need a new Lord of Lies now that the God of Lies is out of the villainy business. How about the first villain? Go old school. Been a villain since before there were humans.
Everyone listen.
Dinosaurs to hell.
Everyone listen to Super Connectivity 179. Scroll down. You'll hear our big, huge thesis on this.
It makes perfect sense. And this was Phil's baby. I had my own theory, which I thought was airtight, and then Phil just blew me out of the water. The professor has become the professored.
Student becomes the teacher.
Yes. So one rumor I did see just before I got here is there's a rumor they are renewing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I saw it. It said rumor.
Rumor. Yeah, rumor, Some dude said, we're going to do it. Why not?
Although the CW renewed all those DC shows, except, did they renew iZombie? I don't think they renewed iZombie, did they?
We'll know at the end of May.
Okay.
They're saying that for the upfront.
But all the super.
They're gonna renew iZombie.
You think? But all
they're in the business of Rob Thomas. I think, as the Arrowverse starts to wind down, I think Rob Thomas is a creator that they should lean on more, just because it's not as teen angsty as those damn superhero shows, with the exception of Black Lightning. Although that family drama is starting to really get on my nerve a little bit.
Wait, what?
The family drama in Black Lightning is kind of waxing on me.
It's gone on me almost for the longest time.
Is Black Lightning getting too old for this stuff yet?
I know Gambi is. Still a good show, but
he went to prison this week.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go to prison.
That's a good movie, by the way.
Let's go to prison.
Dax
I love that film. Yes, Dax Shepard.
With my Kai Bride, the Kai Bride. Love that movie.
Oh yes. Well, I also like who's the other gentleman in that?
That's the guy from Arrested Development, right?
Yeah, Lego Batman.
Oh,
Lego Batman. I forget.
Isn't he also BoJack Horseman?
Yes, he is. Yeah. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, we can't remember his name. We're terrible.
Likes his face.
But you know what? That is a testament to how good of an actor he is. I actually really loved Ed Norton. Didn't know he was in half the movies I loved him in. Ed Norton is one of those guys who I go to and say, "Oh wait, that was Ed Norton," because he does lose himself in roles.
Will Arnett.
Yeah, Will Arnett. Thank you.
Will Arnett. Yeah, Will Arnett is an amazing actor. He's great in that. And Little Ducky Wine with that hint of Lysol, I believe. Toilet wine. I love it. It was just a great movie. And Dax Shepard is fantastic. And Dax Shepard, always struggles to find something that really works for him. He's a guy from Michigan, so got to give props to Dax Shepard. Actually, my cousin is really good friends with Dax Shepard, so that's a fun thing. Never met the guy, but my cousin says he's a great guy. And
the only thing I know about Dax Shepard is that he's married to Kristen Bell. And that's him, so I give him the benefit of the doubt. Must be a good dude.
I'm sure he's a great guy. Like I said, if my cousin vouches for him, I think he's a good guy. That's what I say. My cousin's a good judge of character.
That Jersey seal of approval. Hey, my cousin knows him.
Well, this is actually my Michigan seal of approval because they were from Michigan. Okay.
Follow along, Philip.
I'm from Michigan, like apparently Adam Strange is now.
Lilith, have you watched any more Krypton?
No. After that pilot, I had no interest.
Really? Oh. Okay. You know what? I guess maybe you have to not be a Superman fan to really enjoy it.
Probably.
But you know what?
Is that a good sign though? That the stuff the source material is Superman, and you're like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be a big Superman fan to enjoy it.
Well, that's how I felt about Smallville for the first 2 seasons, and I like Smallville in its own way. So
well, exactly. Here's what I'll say. To me, there's enough. Because here's what I'll say. I'm not a DC fan guy, so I'm not so invested. There are probably people that when the Hulk came out, that's not canon. Where's a Gamma Bomb? Where's Rick Jones? Who's this Jack McGee guy? I can come from it from the perspective of, it's a good story. It has some aspects of it. And there's a lot of stuff in Krypton that is just cheesy and bad. And I'm the first to admit it. And when I made this comment, if Brainiac is looking for worlds that are worthy of assimilation, I think that Krypton was basically just one reality was really on the bubble, and they just had a reality show. Brainiac would have been like, "I'm good. I'm not gonna capture that planet." That basically one Kardashian could have saved all of Krypton.
Yikes!
That's my basic reason. Basically, that is one messed up society. So as a whole, it is just a messed up society.
Oh, so when someone loses their survivor, they get pushed off that cliff?
Honestly, it is just such a, and I love the fact that apparently Val apparently discovered the Phantom Zone and says it is this great tool for transporting between universes. What will we do? Let's put criminals in there. That's like the best juice they could think for this place is we'll just throw criminals, which really just shows you what a pathetic and backwards culture Krypton was. I'm just saying Kal-El was lucky to get out of there.
Oh yeah.
Wrong. You know. Fortunately, Krypton sent its best people. So, and there was just one of them.
Two.
Yeah.
Supergirl.
Two.
How rude! Never forget Supergirl.
They sent their best house.
There you go.
The elves. As they said, they're best people. But
Those flamboyant cape wearers.
And of course, you know, a dog. And a monkey at one point. And
a cat.
I was gonna say Streaky's technically Flash's pet now, but he used to. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Those damn super pets.
Well, yeah, but see now Supergirl's horse wasn't Kryptonian.
Right,
He was just a magical horse. And
Supergirl and magic. Is it true that they're actually putting that movie out on HD? I feel like that was a hoax because they pretend like that movie doesn't exist.
No, you know what? As time heals all wounds, and they re-embrace things.
I mean, I love Helen Slater. Don't get me wrong.
You hear people flirting with like the Disney Christmas special now. That may get a re-release. Oh, not the Disney, the Star Wars Christmas special. Because you know why? Because at a certain point, are you really so delicate of a snowflake fan person that you can't handle the fact that your canon was sometimes silly? You know, that sometimes it wasn't good. The other day, as I was saying, Josh Trank's Fantastic Four was showing at a local theater. You know, it's at the Dollar Show, and I wouldn't pay $1 to see it again. But you know what? Why hide it under a bushel? It exists. You only cheapen it by acting like it doesn't. I want to see Disney, if they have the rights to it. That's always the biggest problem with Disney right now is, do they have the rights to the 70s and 80s Marvel hero shows? You know, can we get that Reb Brown? Can we get that Hammond Spider-Man all together again? You know, well, not together, but have them be re-released. You know?
Yeah, you snowflakes.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right. You gotta be tough in this age of mass media marketing. That's my statement.
You have to be tough, but at the same time, who's really clamoring for that? Is what I'm saying. Is my point. What
I'll tell you as a target audience right here. If there is a Venn diagram of love of bad films and comic book crossovers, I am right in that meaty part of that.
You really pay money for that, though. Really,
that's right.
Well, I would watch it on Amazon Prime. I would watch it on Netflix. I would watch it on Hulu. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Well, I was just specifically talking about the Blu-ray release.
You know, Blu-ray. You know, I don't watch anything on Blu-ray. I don't actually even have a Blu-ray player. I don't do.
My soul is hurting.
Hey, no, Lilo. I don't deal with that dead technology. You guys fooled me so many times with technology. I adopt it just as you get rid of it. Now I'm just all streaming. All digital, man. It's all ones and zeros. When the apocalypse comes, there'll be no record of it. Fine, less clutter.
He's trying to out-millennial you, Lilith.
I mean, I told you, I've backlashed against that whole thing, and I'm about physical possessions now. So.
Yes.
Well, you know, she's up in Canada. She's got her little Unabomber shack up in Canada with her physical media. She's ready for the zombies to come over the horizon. Although Canada is the best place to be in the zombie invasion. Never know why no one ever thinks of that. Zombies' bodies don't produce heat. They're gonna freeze. There's still 90% water. You know, all you got to do is have one winter. That's why that like 800 days of or 30 days of night, whatever. That is totally unrealistic.
Those are vampires, though.
Yeah, I guess you can say magic keeps their blood liquid. Or they have a high enough salt content. That must be it. That they have that concentrated salt content in their blood to keep them fluid. You could make it work, but zombies, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for zombies. It's because they don't produce heat, you know? Of course, how something not producing heat is even walking is a whole other bag of hammers. That's zombies. Zombies suck.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the whole zombie trend overtook the vampires. I've been very about it ever since.
You know what I want to come back? Blobs.
Or Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Oh my god. I don't know why, but I've had that damn theme song in my head all day.
Which one? The cartoon.
The
cartoon one?
The cartoon.
Yeah, you're a millennial.
Yes. We had some god-awful cartoons, but nothing else was on.
But you know what? You had cartoons that were like cartoons of insanely inappropriate adult material. There was a RoboCop cartoon.
Yep.
There was Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. There was a Toxic Avenger cartoon. Because you know why? Because at some point...
And the tick is kind of inappropriate now that I'm looking back at it.
The tick is very inappropriate. Oh, the ticket. Oh, please. The tick is... Well, you know, anything can be made kid-friendly, and all cartoons are inappropriate. It's like Annoying Orange. Why do my kids love it? Because I hate it. Okay, Ben, it's okay. It's okay. But for someone who doesn't like it, it's sure on my TV a lot. But
don't embarrass him. That's not cool to like Annoying Orange anymore. Damn it, Charlie.
I know. Well, it's really his little brother.
You're damaging his street cred.
His little brother loves Annoying Orange all the time, and is very much in it. Ben used to like it, but yes, Ben has grown out of Annoying Orange. But he's not a. But he, you know. Ben can now watch Annoying Orange with nostalgia and ironic detachment.
Like I do with SpongeBob. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yep. He is totally a proto hipster. It's like, oh yeah, Annoying Orange, you know. So bad it's good, man. Got to be able to understand the genre. And that's what I'm at, because I'm sitting here watching all my old Grindhouse films on Prime right now. And it's like, oh, great, because I've already paid for it. I paid for the whole year now, because it's cheaper if you pay it for the whole year up front. It's actually the cheapest if you pay it up front. And I was like, you know, thank goodness for tax money. Because it's like, I had that tax money and said, well, you know what? That's not that much if I just pay it now. And so, yeah, so I'm a Prime member. I can make
Welcome
Alexa,
to the club.
Make Alexa play any song I want, and I get free shipping and got a new couch.
Did you get it from Amazon?
Yeah, bought the couch from Amazon.
Oh, nice.
It is
welcome to the club, sir.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know what? It wasn't any more expensive than the one they had at Walmart.
Well, I was going to say,
Walmart was more comfortable, I think. But
do they kill you on shipping on something that big?
Not if you have Prime.
Oh yeah,
free. 2 days.
Yeah, see, that's something like that. I don't know. We had the big snowstorm, so I'm not faulting them for like freaking 2 days. Just get it to me for free. I don't care when it gets here. Yeah. But you know that's why Trump thinks that the post office is losing money on it, because it's like they keep on having all this free shipping. We're obviously losing money if we're giving them free shipping.
Well, you know, actually, Amazon pays them extra for the United States anyway for Sunday deliveries.
I actually know that. I'm making a joke.
No, I know. I just couldn't believe
it. I saw it memed yesterday. I said, yes, someone else memed my idea. Maybe they had the same idea, but you know, it's just this idea that obviously Donald Trump is not the brightest man. If he thinks that we're losing money, maybe it's because he thinks, they keep on saying free shipping.
The United States Postal Service is a whole other bag of hammers. It has a lot of issues, but that's not one of them.
Well, it is the single largest distributor of packages on the planet. It's like, you know, what FedEx has done in its entire existence is what the post office does every week. You know, or every month or whatever. I forget the exact number, but like, you know, they do like 1 million pieces of post and parcel a month. It's insane. Get out of here. And that's the USPS, and they do it for like freaking super cheap because they don't have to show a profit, but they can't show a loss. So they're basically a nonprofit organization. Anything extra just goes into the.
Although they did pass that law, what was it, a couple years ago, where they had to have like their their retirement fund funded for like the next 20 years or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, they have a fully funded. They have to have their pension much more funded than any private industry has. But not for nothing. What I'll say on that, if I'm gonna, because people say, well, they have to do these things that no other company has to. It's like, yeah, that's true. But maybe we actually should make other companies do that, because that U.S. Postal Service pension is like freaking gold. I wish I could like buy into the U.S. Postal pension, because that is a pension that is rock solid. And maybe if freaking, General Motors or whatever had that as their pension fund, maybe people in retirement wouldn't be always so worried about their retirement. That's what I'll say on that note. So maybe it's not that the post office has an unreasonable expectation. Maybe we've just lowered the expectations for everybody else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, comparatively to everybody else, they do a lot. Yeah. Like, I tip my mail people every holiday, so I appreciate my mail people.
I don't think they have a great union and a great pension plan, and it's hard work, but they get paid well. That's what I'll say. And honestly, I don't know my post office person, so I'd always feel guilty just giving them stuff for free.
You live in an apartment, right, with the boxes?
Yeah, exactly. And we get rotating mail people, but. Yeah, honestly, I think that the custom of tipping your postal service that's an old school thing. Back when things were much less mechanical, back when you had more human interaction. But
it's like the only human interaction I ever got. Give me my stuff. Get out of here.
See, all my human interaction right here, man.
Phil, how do you let us go on about the postal service? Is there literally nothing else to talk about?
As if I could stop you. But no, I did see some movie news, and I'll throw out a couple, and I'll end with the one I'm going to rant. But well, no, I saw they're saying, I guess Harrison Ford has one more Indiana Jones movie in him, and then if they do one after that, they're going to replace him. It's like, yeah, no kidding. He's like, what, 800 years old? Of course you're going to replace him.
He's 70, right?
I thought he was in his 80s.
He was not a young man when he did Star Wars. Let me put it to you that way.
Wasn't he like in his 30s or something when he did Star Wars?
He was in his late 20s at the youngest. He was, and that was 50 years ago. So do the math. Think about that for a minute. That was 1978. It's 2018. Do the math.
He's 75.
Yeah.
At this moment, 75. So by the time you get another Indiana Jones movie out, he's probably going to be
what decrepit stuntman are they getting to do this?
Who says he's going to do any stunts? There was a
Jones movie. Isn't that why Crystal Skull? Well, no, Crystal Skull sucked. Sorry, Shia LaBeouf. I love you, but you sucked in that movie.
They would rather have a 75-year-old protagonist instead of Shia LaBeouf again.
Well, what it was that the idea was supposed to be
he's supposed to take over.
Exactly, and that's why they put a Shia LaBeouf into it. Was especially so Indiana Jones wouldn't have to be running around all the time being a fool. But then I think it was studio interference. Because here's the thing. This was not the first time he came back. He came back in the Young Indiana Jones series. And in an episode set in the 50s, where basically him and a guy were being chased by Nazis, as you do.
I hate those guys.
And they're hiding in a cabin, and he just starts playing on a saxophone. Because his whole thing is he's sitting there playing on a saxophone, and then he causes the snow to fall on the Nazis. And then he takes the item and leaves the Nazis to freeze to death. But that's what Indiana Jones, he should be sitting somewhere by a fire. In fact, that's what I want for the Indiana Jones thing. Is I want him just actually teaching a class. I want just the whole episode to be him recounting his adventures to his class.
Dr. Jones, no time for class, Dr. Jones.
But just the idea that, because I just think it would be great him having all these grad students, and then it's like, so after we found the Ark of the Covenant, say, wait, the Ark of the what now? And just like, no, listen to me, okay? There was Top Man.
And that Nazi
the point is, it just, and if you're going to do it, it should be all done in flashback, and that's how you introduce your new Indiana Jones. And you get the same guy.
Though. Do we really need a new one? Can something just stay there?
No, because here's what you do.
You don't know what age is
Han Solo You get the guy playing Han Solo. It'd be the new Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And that would be so perfect. You'd see the heck out of that movie. Of just Dr. Jones with his glasses and tweed jacket saying, "Now listen, class."
Thor and Dr. Jones.
Let me tell you about the time I met Thor. Because we're all in the same universe now.
I'll tell you about the time this guy ripped the heart out right in front of me.
Oh, so what was your rant there, buddy?
Oh, I'm not with that. I'm not there yet, but okay.
we ranted about it anyway.
I know. Well, that was
here for your
rant about no. But I'll get to that last. But Lilith, did you see this little movie called Avengers Infinity War? They're projecting a $200 million opening weekend.
I mean, good for you. Why you gotta keep rubbing salt in the wound, Phil? I just discussed this on Wade's World. I'm happy for you freaking Marvel boys, okay? I'm happy. I'm just miserable that DC can't get it together and they refuse to burn everything down to the ground. Take a break and start over.
Well, that was gonna be my next question. Did you see now again? They're saying, this Flash movie is not going to be called Flashpoint. It's like, well, what are you doing over there?
How about we don't do it? Thank you. How about we just?
See, but the thing is, and I'm going to say this again. DC has to turn into the skid.
Their eyes are covered in the poop.
I know, but if they don't
take a shower.
No.
Okay, you can't reboot.
I said burn it to the ground and let's not revisit it for at least 20 years.
But that's a lot of money you're leaving on the table. These people aren't in the business to not make movies, Lilith. That's the whole thing.
I know. Sometimes you need to take a hit, though. Chill.
They especially want that Flash franchise to work because they have the TV show. You got
Ezra is no Grant, okay? And even now, I've given up on the Flash TV show, like a lot of people have. They're hemorrhaging viewers.
How dare you? But that was their first problem there. They should have put Grant in the movies.
No offense. There's TV actors and there's movie actors. Sometimes movie actors do TV for money, and it's fun. Most of the time, it doesn't work the other way around.
Lilith, it couldn't have been worse than what we got. How could it be worse than what we got?
I mean, Ezra's good in everything else I've seen him. It was the script and the direction, and they tried to copy the TV show instead of going their own way. I don't understand it.
Are we coming at this from the wrong angle? Did they not leave? Are they just claiming they left the TV actors out of the movies, or did Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin see the script and be like, no thanks?
Well, no, that's not what happened at all. But I'm just saying, it's just they have these edicts that they put down to feel fancy, and it doesn't work.
Culture again.
Yeah.
Well, DC makes a lot of bad choices.
Well, I just wish that they were there, or they weren't so tied to Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is just a cluster frack.
Come on,
but they've done good on. But here's the thing about.
Complete the monopoly.
Here's what I'm going to say is the problem with Warner Brothers and DC. It's actually neither Warner Brothers nor DC. It's the fact that they're very nervous about what they do with their top tier characters. This is why their TV shows do so well. Because the TV shows are all about their second tier characters. And they're allowed to experiment and reinvent and do something interesting with those characters. They can make Green Arrow interesting expressly because he's not Batman. And you can do a story about Green Arrow that you can never get away with trying to do about Batman, because with Batman, everyone is so afraid of what to do with Batman. And Batman is their best product. And because they've had huge hits with Batman. But, and then they make one misstep with Schumacher, and suddenly it's like, oh, what did we do? We have to do completely everything out the window, rather than just say, okay,
well, that
was a bad one.
Well, that's the other problem, too.
Let's take the next one.
People have so many, there's been so many movies, and people have so many ideas about, Batman and Superman. Yeah, they should have let that. I mean, everyone wants to see them in the Justice League, but they should have replaced, Batman with a Green Arrow or a Nightwing or...
Well, no, they just shouldn't have rushed it, is my point.
Exactly.
It's just been rushed.
Well,
they had the time.
They want to be.
They
Marvel.
had the talent. The talent said no, they weren't interested, so they had to start from scratch.
They want to be the MCU right now. What the MCU is right now, and you can't. You got to build.
There's no shortcut to that.
You gotta have a. You don't throw out the MCU just because you had a Hulk. You know,
but
you don't throw it out just because you had a Thor Thor Dark World. And you don't suddenly say, "Oh, I guess we can't continue."
And the good and the bad. I mean, they want to be the MCU now. The MCU's put in 10 years. You can't.
But not for nothing with Thor. He's just a peripheral character that nobody really kind of cares about. So that was fine that happened. If had say Iron Man not done good, then maybe they would have had to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Iron Man was their first jump out of the gate after Ang Lee.
Well,
really, Ang Lee was their first jump out of the gate.
I don't even count it.
We don't talk about that. Like we were actually just having this conversation.
But you have to understand that Ang Lee was supposed to start the MCU.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was actually supposed to be the Hulk again because the Hulk was their money character. And then they were having so many problems with it, they said, you know what, let's just move Iron Man up. And Iron Man really was never meant to be the core of the character. Iron Man was their Green Arrow. On a very real level, Iron Man is their Green Arrow. He's morally ambiguous. He's a tech-based hero. And he's cocky and arrogant and, messes up his own life and everyone else's a lot because of the stuff he does.
So Batman, Iron Man, Green Arrow. So what you're saying is rich douches sell?
Well, what it is rich douches aren't people. You can do a lot more with a rich douche than you can with, a star god that is all good and perfect. And I think that's the problem with.
Well, yeah, more human characters. People can relate to them better.
I don't know. Nobody had a problem relating to Superman for a very long time until certain things happen. That's all what I'm saying.
No one has a problem relating to Superman because prior to Zack Snyder, Superman was actually believable as a big blue Boy Scout.
Everyone knew his alien origin, but yeah, like Christopher Reeve, they portrayed him as like an ordinary guy with superpowers.
Well, exactly, and what they did was they gave him a whole origin that was relatively a small part of the film, but very well thought out and well contained. Even a nice little Uncle Ben, a story.
Exactly.
I couldn't save him with all my powers, and now I have all this responsibility. And they did it well. Now, honestly, I'm gonna tell you that the Superman films, the first three, are not 100%.
Look at him throwing in 3, Lilith.
I know. I'm just gonna let that go and let him finish his point.
I heard you. I heard you, Esther. Don't think you.
And there was a fourth one after that. I'm just saying, these films are not all perfect.
I would have said the first 2, but he had to sneak in that 3.
No, the second one isn't perfect either.
No.
And the first one has its problems.
Oh, please turn him back time.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Well, it was. We didn't notice product placement until someone told us that there was such a thing as product placement. It was all, it was there.
Sweet summer children.
You had, hey.
Jim and the holograms and Transformers. I grew up in it.
Not for nothing, Lilith. We grew up in a world where product placement was everywhere. So the fact there's a Coca-Cola billboard in Times Square, that didn't strike us as weird because there's a Coca-Cola billboard in Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that didn't look like product placement to us. We just like, oh, they're in Times Square.
Plus superhero movies weren't as big business like they are now. You had to fund these things.
Yes. Anyway, but my point is that all these films have their weaknesses. But what usually rises them above it is a love for the source material, which is what we were saying yesterday. Why Zack Snyder is not the right man for this job, because he does not have a love for the source material.
And here we are. That's my rant.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Esser. Yeah. How do I start this? Zack Snyder, you.
Okay. As I said to you yesterday, Phil, in Zack Snyder's defense, he probably has never read a Batman book and doesn't know there's been more than one Robin.
Oh way.
That's
I
right.
did see that. Yeah.
Zack Snyder, yes. He said, oh, that's not, who said that's Jason Todd's Robin costume? That's Dick Grayson. Okay, you're gonna kill off the heart of the DC universe. Okay, Zack Snyder. As if we did.
He just likes to make people talk about him.
He wants the hate, and it's like, okay, as if we didn't know
he's an edgelord. It's fine.
As if we didn't know you didn't understand the DC universe before. You've made it crystal clear.
Yeah, well, I mean, not for nothing. I like Watchmen, but that movie has its problems too.
That movie has lots of problems. The only thing I actually liked best about it, this is the one thing I will say, that this is why I think Watchmen was a really good superhero film, was it explained the costumes as something the villains did first. And really had a great understanding that villains started wearing costumes because the villains realized if you dressed up in a skull costume, it freaked people out. If people thought you were, the Voodoo Lord or Mesmer the Magnificent, people didn't freak out as much. And so the vigilante said, well, you know what? Fudge it. Let's do it too. And I'm going to be the Night Owl, and you're going to be the Scarlet or the Silk Spectre, or, whatever. And that was their explanation. In the comic books, it's the exact opposite. In the comic books, it's the heroes who start wearing costumes, and then the villains copy it, which doesn't make any sense unless you're beardy, and you basically think everything has to be a sexual fetish. That all superheroes are basically just S&M freaks that need to dress up. That is the entire plot of Watchmen, by the way. For those who did not know that is the entire thing. All superheroes are S&M freaks who like to hit and be hit while they're wearing fancy outfits. It is basically a love letter to the Marquis de Sade. Nothing against the Marquis de Sade, but clearly Swamp Thing McBeardy loves that entire genre. And nothing he has written since then in any way disproves my theory about this man. The man loves to write about sexual dysfunction and the need to have your life defined by the Freudian.
So Charlie Esther's saying that Alan Moore likes to get spanked?
Well, I don't know if he likes to get spanked or he likes to spank, or that he just feels that people who would be superheroes are people that would like to be spanked or like to spank. And that's like your Chris Claremont thing and your John Byrne thing. It may not be that they're into mind control sex, but they believe that if people had mind control powers, they would totally use it to get sex. That is how they see that as the first thing. It's sort of like when they say, that we think that the first thing robots after gaining intelligence would try to destroy humanity. Does much more about humanity than it does about robots. That is the crux of that whole argument. It doesn't mean that that's necessarily what they do. It just means that that's what that's their logical expression of what these powers would give you. If you could reach into someone's mind, wouldn't you use that for sex?
No.
Okay, well, and maybe not. Maybe not. And honestly,
I don't know if all of us here would say that, Lilith.
Well, no, I'm just
no,
I'm not saying that I would
I'm
either.
off it now,
I have never written.
I've never mind controlled anyone.
Okay, well, I can't say that either.
What? What did you say? You never.
I've done fanfic where I've experimented with genres, and I did.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't have sex with a robot. I was like, and then you're like, wait, no, I can't say that. I thought that's what you said.
No, I know. No, I was going to say, and sex with a robot. There's nothing wrong with sex with robots. That is perfectly acceptable, even though that is how humanity dies. But maybe it's better that way. That's all I'm saying. If we're going to have to go out, of all the human apocalypses I can think of, the robosex.
Everybody becoming a robosexual.
I just think the idea of, being 90, being cared for by your sex bot, I can think of worse ways to go. I can think that if that is how humanity ends, I think it was a glorious legacy. I think, and someday I'm going to write my story about what all those sex bots do after the last human dies. And now they must find purpose. Because I think that's a beautiful and interesting story.
I feel like that's what WALL-E was about, honestly.
But WALL-E wasn't a sex bot. And
Sure.
actually,
the subtext was there. You just didn't dig deep enough.
actually, what's interesting about Wally is the suggestion is that when robots are left on too long, they eventually go insane. Because that's essentially what they have at the when they have the robo repair ward. It's basically robots that after performing these repetitive tasks for centuries, because they all have been performing these repetitive sex acts for it, not sex acts, been performing these repetitive acts for centuries, they go mad and they have to basically be rebooted. And what happens with Wally is he doesn't go mad, but we do see that all the other Wally units are disabled. So there's a theory that basically Wally killed all the other Wally units as he was cleaning up the planet. But it's possible that they all just eventually broke down and couldn't repair themselves, but Wally was the one that, did not have that one designed in obsolescence gear. So his gear kept on spinning. So he was not one that didn't break down, so he actually continued. And he did develop a lot of obsessions and a lot of weird things, but because he had nothing to interact with, and because he set his own schedule as a compactor droid, he could have a varied enough schedule that he didn't go mad like the robots in the care ward. But Zack Snyder, he's bad for DC Comics and DC movies, and I
think that he needs some oversight. Like, he has some good, interesting ideas. It's his execution. There's nobody to rein him in. It just gave him carte blanche, and it was like with David S. Goyer having a couple of carte blanche things, and we all saw how that turned out. And I'm just like, why is there no oversight here?
Well, you know what it is here's the thing: you can give a guy no oversight if they have respect for the material. I think that the Guardians of the Galaxy. Who did Guardians of the Galaxy?
That's one, right?
Is it James Gunn?
Yeah, James Gunn. James Gunn. Now he is playing fast and loose with the Guardians like nobody's business.
Yeah, but who cared about Guardians of the Galaxy for that movie, though?
The people who read Guardians of the Galaxy cared.
Yeah, all two of them.
I cared a lot about the Guardians.
Well, I care too.
I miss that there's no Charlie.
They don't have.
They
don't have as much history and the active fan base like a Batman or a Superman does.
Well, no one is going to have an active fan base like Batman or Superman. Yeah. Batman and Superman have been ongoing comics since the 30s. They are literally the proto superheroes. Pretty much every superhero since them is based in somewhere or another on Batman or Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Or Wonder Woman, who is actually the middle point between Batman and Superman. That is why they actually make a perfect triumvirate, because you have Batman on the one end, who is the greatest technician, human, and the greatest superhero, who is not in any way a technician. Yeah, he's not of this world, but he's also not. He's not trained to be a warrior, which is why he can be the most powerful man in the world and be a pacifist. Because if Batman had superpowers, he would be like the freaking metal Batman, as we saw recently.
I don't see a difference here, really, honestly.
And Wonder Woman is the balance between them, because she is the superhuman, or at least Captain America level superhuman, who has dedicated her life. She's a guy
now, so
Well, yeah. Well, now who she is, but who she was originally was just the supreme, the supreme perfect woman, and also the supreme tactician. So she was that
compassion, though. I totally missed that. Yeah. Got her comic books.
Well, I barely read any comic books anymore, so it's getting hard.
I'm down to 7. Meanwhile, Phil had 30 of them when I was over last weekend.
Hey, I got a smaller pal this week, brought to you by generous donation from the Lilith Hellfire organization.
Yes.
To save Lucas College Fund.
Yeah. But I did pick up the Terrifics issue 2 this week. Haven't read it yet.
I had that.
I'm going to give the Terrifics a chance.
I had that last week, and Lilith was like, "Why did you buy this?"
Because it wasn't a horrible first book. It's $2.99. It has Plastic Man. And I love Plastic Man and Baby Plaz when I was a kid.
Yes, but are you going to lose interest in this book when the real Fantastic Four come back?
Yes, of course.
Well, first off, I don't have that much interest in it now. It's a $2.99 DC book, and I picked up the second issue. You gotta get to the third issue, and I haven't read the second issue yet. So it's not like I'm chomping at the bit for it. But I'm right now, since I don't have anything on pull, when I walk in on a Wednesday or a Thursday, I can look around and say, oh, well, you know, what the heck? What do I want this week? You know, maybe I'll grab this book. Maybe I'll grab that book. You know, and it's actually very liberating to do that. You know, and so I think it was actually a return because I didn't see it last week and it didn't have like a out this week tag on the shelf. There's a little rip in it, so I think someone got it and then returned it. You know, or decided they had it.
Return comic books.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You know, you can. Well, what can happen is you can get it on your pull, and then you say, you know what, I don't really want this book.
I've never done that in my life.
Me neither.
Never.
Oh.
Never even.
You know
that thought never even crept in the back of my mind until now.
Well, you're a better person than some people. But some people don't see the pull list as a sacred trust and bond like I do. Doesn't matter if I haven't read these books in months. If I have them on a pull list, I'm going to buy those books. You know, to the point where I had to say, just stop pulling everything. I can't let this pull list get me higher. I am going to buy all my books, so you're not going to lose money on me. But just hold my books. And I have cleared out all my books since the tax man came, and now it's just
time to do some weeding.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing right now. And, you know, I'm making these choices as it comes. And when the Fantastic Four book comes out, I probably will. That will probably be the first thing back on my pull list. But I'm still waiting for Vampironica because I asked them to order it for me. So I
think you're really going to like it. I do. And
I'll probably get Vampironica 1 by the time Vampironica 2 comes out. I'll take those both and I'll see how it goes. You know, I've liked the Archies I've read. I just... No, because, you know, the thing is when I'm crossing genres, if I don't have a history with those characters, with that world, it's harder for me to say, oh, yeah, now I have to be in that world, you know?
And see, that's the thing I like about how they've set up the Archie universe now with, like, these different little spin-off books and stuff. It's like, okay, you know, like, I quit reading, like, the standard Archie, Your Pal Archie or whatever and the other stuff. But then, like, you know, I know there'll be a miniseries that I'll probably like. And it's still kind of technically in that universe. They're just kind of playing with it. So that's why I feel like, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, they're basically doing Ultimate Archie.
Yeah.
You know?
And they have been for a while. The horror stuff's really good to me, so.
Yeah. And because not for nothing, that's something you can do at Archie because Archie has its own thing. Archie is its own thing. You know, the Archie books were this institutional structure for years, and then they just decided to do some spin-offs from Archie's, and because they were non-canonical, they could go anywhere. So they could have Archie meets the Punisher, Archie meets Predator. They could do all these things in Archie styles and have fun with their genre, and it's your classic Lunatics take over the asylum story, and it worked. It worked because they aren't worried about screwing it up, and that's DC's problem with Zack Snyder, is they were worried about got it connected. Super connections, Phil. It's all about super connections. They've been worried about how do we do Superman right? How do we do Batman right? Which in and of itself is not a problem. Because as we saw with Black Panther, you know, you can say we have to do that really big black superhero film right. We have to do it right. We're not going to do it as a half-butt job. And it came out and they did that film right. You know, it's a kind of, and I feel this. That's what I'm going to feel about the same way about Captain Marvel. That when Captain Marvel comes out, you're going to be like, "Oh, I'm glad I waited." You know, I'm glad they really got this right because they really got this right. You know, they really made this film speak and breathe and be something real and human and deep and complex. And it's not just about Captain Marvel as a superhero. And here's how she got her powers, and here's who she punches.
What's it gonna do to the DCEU if I just thought of this? It just popped in my head. What's it gonna do to the DCEU if Captain Marvel's movie beats Wonder Woman?
It's still the best DC movie, period.
Oh, yeah,
that they have right now.
Yeah, you know,
and it's gonna come on. It's a Marvel movie. The fanboys are gonna. show up. They tell me. I think after Infinity War, though, I think everybody's interest is going to be outside of the Black Panther franchise. That's just like my prediction, honestly.
I think that prediction. I think that's a bold prediction, Lilith.
Especially
what I'll say. That's a bold prediction.
Especially for the Captain Marvel movie. You don't think the women are going to come out and support that like they did Wonder Woman?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, here's the thing. I don't think Captain Marvel necessarily is a feminist icon.
Yeah.
The way that Wonder Woman is.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the general public might not know of her yet, so.
Well, yeah. Well, here's what it is Captain Marvel is a character that is going to get her play, is going to be put out there. And not for nothing, if they are renewing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Phil Coulson is in Captain Marvel, you know that basically, if nothing else, they're going to renew Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just because Disney tapped ABC on the shoulder and said, you know what? We need to plug Captain Marvel up the wazoo. So guess what next season's all about? You know, not for nothing, that's where we're at with all this stuff.
Ooh, they could do a lot of flash. If they do renew Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they could do a lot of flashbacks next season, like showing Phil Coulson leading up to Captain, where he was at in Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah. And maybe we can get Samuel L. Jackson in there with, 2 eyes and a big fro. Because everyone knows when you go back in time,
the bald guy has to
be
the black
exponentially
bald guy has to have a fro.
Yeah, but I told you it's the 90s. It's not gonna be a fro. He's gonna have like the fade and
the high top fade. He's gonna have a high top fade. Yeah,
exactly. Maybe something written, maybe a S.H.I.E.L.D. logo and shaved in the side of his head.
No, I think Fury's more conservative than that. I think he's gonna have.
You didn't know him 20 years ago. Don't.
No, I think he's gonna have a Boom Boom Washington fro. Well kept and neat, but still with its own sense of independence. I'm just saying, it's the 90s, but he's also a grown-ass man.
Unless they keep him bald and he just has the 2 eyes, yeah.
That would be ridiculous, Phil.
I don't know. I just don't know about what this next phase of the MCU is going to bring for you guys.
I honestly,
what's the movie total at Infinity War? Just out of curiosity, what number in the MCU does that make it?
Let's see here. 2 Caps, 3 Thors, 3 Iron Men, so that's 9. 1 Hulk, so that's 10. 4 Avengers, so that's 14. 1 Spider-Man, that's 15. 1 Black Panther, that's 16 so far. Oh no, also Ant-Man, that's 17. Ant-Man and Wasp will be 18.
Well, that's not going to be out before Infinity War, though, right?
What?
Ant-Man and Wasp will be not before Infinity War, but before Infinity Inferno. Oh, I'm sorry, Avengers Inferno.
Yeah.
I know. I saw CBR was saying it's going to be Avengers Annihilation. No, Avengers Inferno.
It's ridiculous. That is just your dang. What if the Baxter Building's in it? What if the X-Men come up in the final scene? It's like, no, they don't own them yet. Away, little boy. I love you. Okay.
I'm totally borrowing that now.
What?
For your boyfriend.
Yes.
Away, little boy.
Yes. You can play it on your Wii U. You have it right in your hand.
That's exactly the dialogue. You're writing her dialogue for her boyfriend. But I know. Anyway. I just looked it up. The MCU since the films have been in production since 2007, and in that time, Marvel Studios has produced 18 movies with 14 more in various stages of production.
Yeah, and we're gonna
sour grapes.
It's not sour grapes. It's just too much of a good thing. People start to get a little.
Charlie knows what I'm talking about. Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, man. Sour grapes. Okay. These delicious sour grapes. These grapes are so sour.
Sour grapes.
Here's what I'm going to tell you right now.
Oh, yeah, that comes out this summer to the movies.
Is one of DC's biggest properties right now.
It's profit. It's probably one of the most profitable.
Do you know why Teen Titans Go is their biggest property?
Because they sell merchandise. They sell those little stupid toys.
Well,
and they don't take themselves seriously.
What I was going to say is there is respect for the source material while at the same time expanding and experimenting with it.
And then
If you say so, from what I watched, I was just like,
and it's not all dark.
Whoever it's for, it's for. It's not for me.
You didn't watch the Night Begins to Shine special.
Oh, that's a great one.
Oh, I know. CeeLo Green, Fallout Boy. Oh,
well, you know,
Fallout Boy.
I only like my CeeLo Green as a magical hot tub in American Dad. Damn it!
He turns into a bear, like a fighting.
It is a great.
Oh my god!
But here's what I'm gonna tell you. And you know what? And the Raven Beast Boy relationship is beautiful.
Hey, mama.
And touching and complex and wonderful.
Tara tries to get in the middle of that.
Yeah, Tara. You know what? You know, as I said, Beast Boy loves the bad girls.
Destroy them all.
I know, but he can't help himself. He loves the bad girls. He's like, what's her name in Charlie's Angels? The girl from E.T.
Who, Drew Barrymore?
The Barrymores, yes. Drew Barrymore, you know, always falls for the bad guy. And Beast Boy always falls for the bad girl. Exactly. It's a fine DC tradition. You gotta love the bad girls.
Come on, Lil.
Exactly.
I can't.
The entire Esser household into the DC universe. Come on.
I mean, I'm like I said, it's not for me. I'm glad that it's for somebody, but it's not for me.
You don't have children and you're dead inside.
Yes, I'm very dead inside. I'm sorry, was this supposed to be a secret?
But it's okay to be dead inside, Laura. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to hide that. And
I don't.
She wears it on. She wears it on a.
Yeah, no, and that's what she is.
That's the new T-shirt. Dead inside. Don't dead open inside. Phil for The Walking Dead.
But you know what? That's okay. And the thing is that everything has But what I'm saying is, even if you don't like Teen Titans Go, and many people don't, it is objectively a positive entry in entertainment canon, expressly because it's made by people who have passion for the source material and respect for the source material, even as they are willing to experiment with the source material. And when you look at what has made the Marvel Universe good, it is because the respect for the source material, have a passion for the source material, but aren't afraid to experiment with it.
Experiment with the genre, but it all feels the same. It's all very wash, rinse, repeat.
Well, not for nothing. These are ancient myths transposed into the modern world. Yeah, that's what it's. Yeah, pretty much since the Song of Gilgamesh, it's been. Here's a wild man. Here is a sun-based deity man. They fight, then they become friends. You know that is literally
I'm just saying that specific MCU look, sound, feel, even the actors. It's just like at a point, sometimes you outgrow it.
Well, no, but it is. Well, what I'm saying,
and I think that audience is starting to outgrow that, maybe.
But except that Marvel Universe films aren't all the same, as much as DC people want to say they are. They may all have a similar color palette because, again, Marvel films happen in the daytime, not at night. And it's a different lighting structure. But the fact of the matter is there's a big difference between something like Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man. And Iron Man.
Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy is its own little, hey, we had some extra money, let's have some fun kind of thing. So that's not going to feel like everything else.
They're very different films. The way the characters are presented and interact, who the characters are. One is, and granted, they're all still using all old classic tropes. Guardians of the Galaxy is just Magnificent Seven, which is just Seven Samurai.
Just a space opera, yeah.
Yeah, which is just whatever the first team up myth was that eventually created pantheons of gods. And when the guy said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if like Zeus and Pluto were actually brothers?" It's like, yeah, let's tell that story next time around the campfire, you know? And that's how myths get created, and that's all we're doing once again with these heroes. But that doesn't mean it's bad. You don't have to run away from the source material, even as you expand upon it. You don't have to act like Superman's underwear on the outside is an embarrassment.
I missed that.
Well, yeah, but Zack Snyder did. And that was the problem.
And it all goes back to the point of who the hell hired Zack Snyder? Who thought this was a good idea? I have no clue what kind of blackmail he has on whoever.
And not for nothing. Well, the reason why 300 was a hit was because 300 doesn't have much story. It's a purely visual film. It's a purely visual film. And likewise, when it came to Watchmen, everyone said, well, I don't think anyone could have. He got the advantage in Watchmen in the fact that everyone said no one could ever make a good Watchmen film, but he did it really well in that first montage scene, and it was a visually stunning film. And what everyone will say about Zack Snyder is he does visually stunning film. The
plot is always very lackworthy. See Sucker Punch.
Yeah. You have to have anything that is got. If you give him anything that actually has depth, he goes film school on you, and that's his problem. Because, and like I said, when he's trying to explain that the reason why Batman has to have a spear is because it's representative of the spear of destiny, which pierces the side of Christ. It's like, no, that's not why Batman has to have a spear. That's why you have to have a spear. Now you have to figure out how to give Batman a spear and have it make sense. You can't just say Batman has a spear because you stab a god with a spear. You have to say, here's why Batman has a spear. You have to make that make sense in the context of the film, not just because it makes visual sense in the picture that's painted. And it does make perfect visual sense. It is a brilliant scene visually in how you represent this idea of a man slaying a god. But story, you need a reason for the man to slay the god in that way.
Like, you know how some people say people have a hard time with the show me instead of the tell me? He's kind of the inverse.
Yeah, he has a very hard time. Well, what it is that he thinks that telling is showing. When you say show, don't tell, what you're saying is show so you don't have to tell. What he is saying is show instead of tell, which isn't the same. Because if he's showing instead of telling, you're still saying, why are you showing me this? Pretty
much for 2 hours. That's how I felt.
Yeah, and that's the thing, It's like Granny Sweet Tea.
I just really hate how Hollywood is, how it's all about who you know and who you have blackmail on apparently and things like that. Because I read, it's just like with the TV shows. Like I read so much speculative fic and like just in forums and stuff that are just a million times better than what they actually have presented. So it's just like, because you have to have some kind of end, and that's why somebody's hairdresser insisted on a giant spider, and both the Superman that was never made and Wild West. And that's the other. Like,
that's the other thing.
Anyway, as you were going to say, Phil.
No, come on. Teen Titans Go to the movies is going to give us Nicolas Cage as Superman. Come on.
Well, that'll be wonderful. I don't think Nicolas Cage would have been bad as Superman. And again,
that script was awful, and Nicolas Cage, no. Are you serious? Are you being facetious?
I don't. You know what? All I know is everyone said.
All I know is what I know.
All I know. Who was it in Tim Burton's? Why don't I remember anyone's name anymore? I'm old.
You're getting old. Yeah.
Tim Burton's Batman. What was the guy's name? Mr. Mom.
Are you talking about Michael Keaton?
Yeah, everyone was like, "Why are you casting Mr. Mom as Batman? Mr. Mom isn't Batman."
But he had done so much before Mr. Mom. Like, I was barely born.
No one was barely born. No one remembered anything except for Mr. Mom. It's like and it's like Tom Hanks. You're gonna put the guy from Bosom Buddies, the guy from Bachelor Party, in Apollo 14. Are you crazy? I don't know if Apollo 14 or Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia was his big breakout. Like, I can actually act film. But before that, he's just the guy from Bosom Buddies and Bachelor Party, which is a great film.
I feel like I've seen the remake, not the actual original.
Yeah, don't watch the remake. Honestly, here's going to tell you, if it was a B movie from the 80s to start with, do not watch the remake.
Excuse me, Porky's 2 is freaking still classic.
Well, no, Porky's 2 isn't a remake. Porky's 2 is a sequel. Okay, that's a very different thing.
Oh, never mind then. It doesn't
Yeah, there's a difference between a sequel. And then Porky's is a trilogy.
That felt like a remake.
Okay?
Never mind.
Like Star Wars. It's not even a sequel. It's a trilogy like Star Wars. Okay, which is actually now a nonology.
Ongoing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a nonology with some side films. It's a decagy. It's an infantagy because it's owned by Disney.
It's a slap your fans in the face for as long as you can take their money.
Well, you know what? It's a whole galaxy of stories that happened a long time ago.
Still mad about my canon. Unforgivable.
No, you know what? They need canon. It's not your canon that was destroyed, Lilith. It was a singular canon that was created. No different than your singular canon that was in your head. But they said not all canons can be true canons. We must have a singular canon for our universe now. And so now they do.
It's only 3
This
Star
ain't
Wars
Star
movies,
Trek
as
where you
far
can
as
do
I'm
whatever you want in the books. And, you know, I mean, that's the thing.
Some of those books are freaking priceless, though.
Something tells me that Star Wars movies are going to go on forever.
Yeah, they'll be here after
We're
Luca
dead.
has grandkids. Don't worry
Exactly.
about it.
Well, yeah, because they're
Disney has their hooks in it now. They're never gonna let that go.
No, man, that is the new mouse, man. Why not? It is fun and exciting.
Can I get a
and
Goof
Laptop
Troop
2 is
reboot,
good.
Disney?
A what? A Goof Troop reboot?
Yeah.
Probably. There's a lot.
Got
of
all that
popular.
Star Wars money. Do something with it.
They
They redid DuckTales, and that's been pretty popular. That's been
yeah,
going.
exactly.
Oh yeah, DuckTales. The DuckTales reboot. I watched the first 3 episodes. I was
Hey,
just
it's got David
it's not what I
Tennant.
remember. Yeah.
Of course, it's not what you remember. It's a retake on the genre.
I don't like the animation style. Had it been something different,
animation style is always rough. I mean, to me,
it
that's
kills
also,
me.
That kills me with comic books too, man. I mean, you know, I really hated when Joe Fixit when Peter David moved the Hulk to Vegas. And it was mostly because I really hated the artist on it, even more than I didn't like where it all jumped off.
The guy after McFarlane, yeah.
Yeah, he was, and really, man, you follow McFarlane with that guy. who one person has one name and the other guy is that guy. That tells you everything you need to know about that moment in comic book history. Oh yeah, that guy that followed McFarlane on Hulk. You know, and he wasn't necessarily doing bad. It was just that, it wasn't.
It wasn't your comfort zone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was a young boy at that time, and like when your childhood got ruined in your actual childhood, when Andre the Giant sold out to Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and betrayed Hulk Hogan, and that is the crushing of your childhood when you were a child, and if nothing else, that's what I don't care about. Oh, they're ruining my childhood by remaking these things. Like, my childhood was ruined decades ago. Okay, if you had a happy childhood with these things, mazel tov to you, buddy. But quite frankly, if they're just telling me a good story, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like now, I can look at, what it is that when Andre the Giant did his heel turn and sold out not only his friend Hulk Hogan, but the WWF by giving the heavyweight championship to Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, when he sold out so horribly, it made me an adult. It ruined my childhood by making me an adult, made me realize it's all about the greenbacks, baby. And I can say, and that's a good story, that the hero turns on his own self-interest. And I can say, I can embrace that now. And I can live in that moment of the 80s and say, I know why that was good television. And I know why the Cage Bird sings and all this stuff now. I don't know that even relates to it. But my point is that it makes sense in that context. Okay.
I'm just getting too old for comic books, I feel like.
What do you need to do?
How dare you? How dare you?
Okay, then put it in. You just can't put it on the big TV.
That's what she said.
Philip,
I'm sorry.
come on, Dad's here. Get it together.
Okay.
So what?
Anyway.
So what? Neither one of you's read many comics this week?
I read 2. I can give you a guess.
Well, I read the Avengers. The Avengers. I read Marvel 2 and 1. I think that's all I got the chance to read to. So
what did you think? What did you?
I
think?
did catch up on my Krypton.
Well, that's all that matters to me.
What did you think of 2 and 1, Charlie? Number 5.
I liked it. I like Doom and Reed working together.
And of
what
course,
we could not do in any universe we can do.
And of course, who can stop Doom as Galactus? Doom.
Doom. None can stop Doom but Doom. It is a circular loop of none can defeat Doom except for another Doom. Oh no, and there's a Doom, and now a Doom must be defeated. And this is a 616 Doom, not for nothing. This is like the one Doom that can never be destroyed. It's like this is like one more point of the Gwenpoolization of Marvel Comics. It's like, how can I not destroy you? I have the power cosmic, but I am from the 616, and I am the one true Doom. And you must fall before me because I met a girl in a pink outfit who recently showed me things about the nature of the universe that you cannot even begin to comprehend. But I, as Doom, immediately comprehended. And so, bish, bam, boom, I'm going to step outside the panel just like that little girl in the pink leotard showed me. And now I'm going to push you into non-existence, Galactic Doom. Say hi to Paste Pot Pete to me, for me.
Oh, what, so you're saying now that Doom got some sweet loving, now he's like, I don't know.
No, I'm talking about Gwenpool. When he fought Gwenpool, because Gwenpool did not want to fight good guy Doom, so she tore open his armor and resurrected classic Doom to fight.
I forgot. It all comes back to Gwenpool.
Yeah, man. It all comes back to the Gwenpoolization of the Marvel Universe is something that's happening right now.
The Gwenpoolization of Charlie Esser's mind is what's frightening me.
Well, but you know what? It all makes sense. Everything that's happening makes sense if you just accept, what if the universe is fictional? Which is a ridiculous thing to have to say out loud. But you suddenly realize, once you've gone through that Gwenpool looking glass, you realize, wait, the universe is fictional. And there's no way that really, yes, 616 Doom has to defeat Galacto Doom. Because Galacto Doom is just some petty Doom from some other dimension, not even central canon. And obviously, he's not going to destroy the last Earth. So obviously, he has to defeat him. I'm just saying, man, Gwenpool is the most amazing new character that Marvel has created in years. And she's just too dang powerful is the problem. She is like the Beyonder like that. In fact, I hope wherever she is, I hope her and Frank are just chilling. Listen to old Dazzler records, you know.
So have you given up?
Peter Dinklage Beyonder.
Have you given up that it's Gwenpool and Avengers?
Not yet, but you know, even if it isn't Gwenpool, which I still think, like I say, here's what I'll say.
How much more evidence do you need? Wasn't this the issue? I think the last page.
Don't shatter his little head cannon.
No.
The creators all said this is how we came up with Voyager.
But Phil, I know that Gwenpool's a fictional character. Okay, I know she's not actually a human from our universe.
No, I know, but I'm saying this is the step by step. They were like, this is how we came up with this brand new character.
Yeah, well, you know. Except they didn't say that, did they? I don't read the back page, Phil. That's too much tiny print. My eyes are old. Yeah, but no, I saw what they were. I saw what they were doing, and I get that. I get what they're trying to do. Like I said, I'm not saying that she is Gwenpool at this point, because honestly, I knew that was an out there theory from the start. Because they're not gonna Gwenpoolize their entire universe so obviously, but clearly all the writers at Marvel right now really liked that Gwenpool. And you know, I think that Marvel has always had a love for their own fictionality in a way that only a few writers at DC have, which is why Ambush Bug isn't in more stuff. I think that if DC was like Marvel, Ambush Bug would be in most every background, just because his metafictionality is a delightful aspect of the nature of comic books. But this is why characters like Howard the Duck are in pretty much has had an interaction with every Marvel character. Because Howard the Duck is central, in many ways as central to the nature of Marvel comics as is even the Fantastic Four. Howard the Duck is the defining moment in Marvel when they said, what if we all just said these are comic books? And then you get guys like John Byrne coming in, who really start to actively play with, which of course Stan and Jack did earlier, the comic books in the universe and all that kind of stuff. And Stan and Jack being at the wedding and not being able to get in, etc. They've been playing with this, or Patsy Walker showing up in old FF comics to do their first crossovers. In classic Batman 66 style, the celebrity waving in the background. This is in the DNA at Marvel. That metafictionality is in the DNA at Marvel. And I think that maybe if DC has a problem, is that DC takes itself way too seriously. For the company that gave us Why So Serious and the Joker, they take themselves way too seriously. And they don't take a moment to say, wait a minute, these are stories about people in silly costumes punching each other to solve problems. Yes, we can tell deep and powerful stories about that, but we should never lose sight of the fact that the entire concept is a little bit ridiculous. And Marvel gets that, and DC doesn't.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's probably why I like DC more. It is a little bit more of an immersive experience when you have cities like Metropolis instead of everything being in New York or whatever.
Yeah, and that's fine, Although what's funny is I kind of think that adds to its own metafictionality, that it's not New York, that it's not in something that has a real tangibility, but is a place that is meant to be a fantasy place in itself, which is why Metropolis and Gotham can both be New York and are both the two sides of the same coin. One is the gleaming city of New York. One is the,
dirty underbelly.
The squalid darkness of New York.
I see you.
It is the difference between New York in the daytime and New York at night.
Oh, I know.
I see you breakdancing back there, Tristan Esser.
Yeah, there's Tristan. Yeah, he's wearing his new shiny silver Jason mask. His uncle got him. He's so happy. Why are you sad, Ben?
Because I don't have a shiny Jason mask. All right, Lilith.
Okay.
Let me guess.
Anyway.
You bought Black Lightning, Cold Dead Hands number 6.
Okay. What's the other one?
Is it Green Arrow?
Yes. Unfortunately, it is.
See, I know you.
It's an end of an era. I can't get behind this Green Arrow comic book anymore.
What?
I'll catch it on the next upturn.
Oh no, you didn't watch Green Arrow this week, did you? You didn't watch Arrow. Did you?
I am caught up on Legends though. Ava is a clone, and then of course Damien Dark was going to turn on them.
Wait, what? Oh, I haven't watched that last episode, man.
Oh,
it was like 3 episodes ago. It was like 2 episodes ago. Or 3.
You're behind. I just caught up this morning.
Behind. I'm sorry.
All I'll say is Ava's been renewed. Ava's coming back next season.
Yeah, she's a regular now.
Yeah, because since they renewed all those CW shows.
Avalanche must die, dude. Give me Nissa.
Although, let me say this. I don't. Oh, what?
That's their shipper fandom. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought because you said she was. No, wait. Is she supposed to be a clone of her sister? Is that what that is?
No,
okay.
She don't make out with her
You
sister.
threw me for a loop there because I haven't seen. Okay. No, what I was gonna say is, General Hale on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hale, Hydra. You get that joke there. Yeah, someone pointed out to that on Twitter the other night. I was like, oh, why did I not see that before? And she's wearing her hair down this whole last episode. And I know it's just such a sexist thing to say, but it's freaks me out with her hair down. It's no, lady, you wear your hair up in that proper military pin with the hat. That's how you wear your hair. You don't have long flowing tresses. That freaks me out, General. You do not look like a general right now, and it's bugging me. And I feel awful to say it out loud, but I had to say it that I was not feeling General Hale's hair down. Also, I really started to get this CBR put out a fan theory that Ruby is actually supposed to be Moonstone.
Oh.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it's stuff in this where the psychological manipulation of Von Strucker
getting closer to a Thunderbolt, somewhat Thunderbolt.
Well, yeah, because any second generation Nazi in a storm, right? We can't use a helmet Zemo, but we got to order Von Strucker on tap, and and we're getting a graviton in this. So because we get the fact that and I'm forgetting the doctor's name, that he's still inside the graviton, and so's the other guy. That the graviton is basically absorbing people, almost as if it was some sort of soul stone.
I thought you said Thanos had the. I thought you said Thanos had the Soul Stone because it's not like he would give away all his stone. The only stone he has, the Loki or whatever. So how do you want it, Pastor? How do you want it? Does Thanos have it, or is it in the gravitonium?
I'm just saying, you know what? They could make a fool out of me. They've done it before. I mean, they clearly made a fool out of me with my whole idea of the microverse coming into play in the next film, and that's why they can't spoil it, because it's going to be a central part in Ant-Man and Wasp. But you clearly blew that out of the water by making the point that it would be so much better for them to do a Mephisto story. So I stand corrected. Exactly. I got my mic dropped. Phil, I'm not a guy who gets angry when my canon is disproved. I'm a guy who says, oh, what a fun adventure is this? I take the mountain path, as they said on Andromeda, which is also on Amazon Prime.
He's a mountain
I walk the mountain path. I say,
another
what adventures do you have for me?
Show. Gone too soon.
And what I thought was maybe one of his better ones, I love the Nietzscheans. The Nietzscheans it was like, what if Khan had his own planet? And I loved that. Yeah, they're super warlike, because if you make yourself this perfect body, I guess you get to be a real jerk. But I also loved the fact that the Nietzscheans were worse than, I forget what the bug race was. Because the Nietzscheans were human, and there's no one more evil than humans. It was all such a beautiful stuff in that, honestly. See, when you talk about like Firefly, it's like, again, my childhood was ruined way before this stuff, kids. It's like, oh, you got sad because your Firefly got canceled. Oh, Andromeda, man, 1 season or 2, whatever it was, on syndication that you can never find. Live with that. Live in that world, kids. You know what? That is my walked up the hill both ways. When I was a young boy, our best shows were syndicated, and we didn't know when they would be on. You just one day you turn on the TV and there was your show, and you have to watch it because it was magical. It was like a moment of a serendipity in your life that now the show is on.
Okay, programming note for you people listening on the podcast, you're missing out not subscribing to YouTube, because not only would you get these words of wisdom from Charlie Esser, but you would get a second show from Tristan Esser right behind him. And I'm impressed how they're color-coded shirts tonight. They're both wearing red. I mean, seriously, subscribe to our YouTube. It's something to behold.
Yeah, well, I will say this: Tristan is a showman, consummate at the start. Ben is a showman too, but he gets a little shy around everything. Oh, now Tristan's wearing his VR glasses. These are part of this got us very upset because we got this as part of his birthday shopping spree. They had a Jurassic Park VR game that you could buy, and they also make a Batman one, but it's not cross compatible. You have to buy the whole other VR unit to play the Batman game.
The remote that is cross-compatible.
Yeah, they do have one cross-compatible system, but it's only for sale in certain stores. I'm like, lady, why don't you want my money? Why do you want to make this hard for me? Why do you want to make it so I can't just do an upgrade for like $5-10? I want to buy your product. Don't make me spend a whole other $30 for stuff I don't need. When honestly, maybe your Jurassic Park game wasn't as good as you think it was to start. Just saying. Cross-compatible VR, man.
Capitalism.
At its finest.
So am I, sweetheart. This is Tristan, man. He's freaking 9. Yeah, he loves VR. I'm like, VR? What the? It's like, I wear glasses. I can't do VR.
It's like all this AR and VR, and I'm just like, if you just done it 5 years earlier, I'd be all here for it, sunk into it by now.
You kids and your VR, back in my day, this reality was enough for us.
I know. It started with the Pokemon Go. I was just like, why? You're running out into the street. You guys are idiots.
I was
running in the light pole.
I was thinking how awesome augmented reality would have been decades ago. Because I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you had like an app on your phone that was like a Marvel app, and you'd just be walking around, and every so often you'd hold it up and you'd see Spider-Man swinging across the buildings.
Don't they have that?
No,
I
for
don't
some
think-
reason not.
The only one
Why
I
would not have that?
no, it's
Exactly.
like it's like Pokemon Go, and the only other one I've really heard of like a game like that is like I think Walking Dead's working on one or something.
Well, yeah, and it's cool. And well, the problem is that you don't want people running into imaginary fights because they're going to run into traffic.
Yeah, that's
That
what
was
happened.
basically a problem with Pokemon Go. It's like all the kids are, it's a Bulbasaur! Not in the middle of the street, Junior. Not in the middle of the street.
Charlie, you missed it. You would have been proud. Tristan was waving the American flag back there, all hacksaw Jim Duggan style.
Oh my God! Is there anything else we need to talk about?
I'm good. Does anyone else have anything?
I'm sorry, Tristan. Well, who died when he
No.
got to level
How did you
15?
like
Kenny from South Park.
What?
Oh,
Black
Kenny from
Lightning.
South Park?
It was all right.
Cold Dead Hands? I'm talking.
Oh, the Cool Dead Hands. It was all right. Do you think we're going to get him folded into the DC stuff books now more? I mean, we did get like Flash.
I think they'll probably bring them into the Justice League, one of the Justice Leagues, because I know we're gonna get more Justice League teams.
Yeah, since we're going to get like 20 Justice League teams now.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go back to that, and maybe he turns them down the first time, and we get some outsiders.
Yeah, well,
We need a new Outsiders book, right? Even if
we're
it's a miniseries.
just going to label everything Justice League.
Unfortunately,
Justice League Outsiders.
I don't know why we need 20
Well, it's
Justice
like
League.
US Avengers and...
they're gonna see which one sticks for the Justice League, and then
Throw 'em all in the
maybe
fan, see what sticks. Yep.
maybe we'll go a different direction for Justice League 2. Or I hope that movie gets scrapped. I heard an interesting theory that Shazam movie could actually technically be Man of Steel 2, and I kind of like that because I do actually like Superman and Shazam's interactions, and I think that would be a great way to build both of those characters.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that they can't reboot anything because Wonder Woman was a success.
But the first one stands in and of itself, though. You know what I mean? Like, you
I know,
just get
but
rid of the beginning with him sending her the picture or whatever. We can just pretend like that didn't happen.
Well, I mean, you can, or you can just...
And I'm not saying a reboot. I'm just saying Man of Steel 2 was supposed to happen before Justice League, and then it got scrapped. And I'm saying it would be a sneaky way to make a Man of Steel 2 without actually it being...
Well, I guess what my point is that, you can make Justice League 2, just make it better. It's like
they don't know the meaning, Charlie.
I don't know how.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that they're not going to know the meaning if they change anything either. It's like okay, so they're going to do this Aquaman film, which maybe it will be good, right? Yeah, they're doing an Aquaman film with Jason Momoa.
Yeah, December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the Jason Coconut Cookie.
Jason Voorhees.
I can dig it.
I was, the coconut cookies from the Girl Scouts, the Samoas, and his name is Manoa or Momoa, so Mimosa. So, I'm having fun with his name and referencing.
He wouldn't like that very much. You wouldn't like Jason if he was angry.
You wouldn't like it when you say angry.
Oh, well, okay. Why? Because he's, all roided up. Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
I'll throw that at him. What? They don't drug test in the movies.
America.
I'm just saying, they don't drug test in the movies. There's no crime for having performance-enhancing drugs if you're an actor. So, yes, Schwarzenegger juiced, Stallone juices, they all juice, Phil. And Momoa and Chris Pratt, he's on the juice too. I'm going to say it. Captain America's whole origin is he's on the juice.
He's on the special juice. The America juice, damn it. It's different.
Chris Pratt, the reverse Ben Affleck.
Saying.
Oh God, I'm not looking forward to that new Jurassic Park movie. And of course my boyfriend's gonna drag me to see it.
Well, you don't like dinosaurs?
I don't like this newfangled Jurassic Park. Give me Jeff Goldblum, damn it!
That boyfriend seems to drag her to stuff.
You like Jeff Goldblum. They listened, Lilith, and they're bringing Jeff Goldblum
He's not in it
back.
enough. It needs to be him all the time.
Drag her to Infinity War.
Lilith,
he knows better. He
the
plays.
man
I told
is
you he
90
plays his
years
part.
old. He wants to play old Jewish men now. He wants to be a guy in a restaurant.
Can I get the fly too?
Next to Harrison Ford. He wants to be the guys. He wants to do Coming to American 2 with him and Harrison Ford as the two barbers.
And he wants to be an elder of the universe.
Well, yes, yeah, and the elders of the universe. He is an elder of the universe now.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch, maybe, like I said, that's the other theory, is that the Elders of the Universe turn out to be the real villains and the real masterminds.
You didn't tell him my theory, Philip, that it's Uncle Ben. He's been alive and evil the whole time. The Simpsons made a joke about it, and so that's my headcanon now.
Are we done?
Yes, we're done.
Yes. Okay, we can be done now. What? Only an hour and 45 minutes? What are we, pikers?
Lilith fried my brain.
Okay.
All right, so if you would like to make sense of this chaotic mess, email us, please, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/capesandlunatics, @capeslunatics on Twitter, and make sure to follow the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks. A lot of good stuff over there. Who Podcast, The Watchmen, Newcastle Crew, Wade's World, Quantum Zone. Check it out.
No just punishments?
No, you're on Kate. You're on Kate. Regular
You're
Kate.
the main feed. Stop rubbing it in.
People love the professor. What can I say?
Oh, but stay tuned for the upcoming episode of Wade's World, where we review new release Domino #1.
Ooh, what are you writing there?
Was that Toxic Gamer?
Subscribe to Daddy.
Where do you want them to subscribe to, Tristan? We're doing our subscribe to me. Oh.
And you.
Okay, but what does your napkin say?
And me.
And what does it say?
Does it say 2 E's for quality?
Subscribe to him and me, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and you're Toxic Gamer 13. Okay. And click the bell because he posts all the time.
And he is a show.
You can see our trip to and you can see our trip to Franklin Museum.
Ooh.
Oh, you haven't uploaded the Franklin Museum? Get that thing edited. Get it up, man. You're not going to get your hits if you don't get it uploaded. Phil.
Boy, that's ironic.
You should have waited till Monday. I was
ironic. Charlie Esther telling somebody, hurry up, get it posted.
I don't do the posting. I just do the creation.
He's like, I just show up and look pretty and spout big words, and then I'm done.
I'm the artist, man. I don't do the production. And you know what? When you tell me, hey, we need another Punisher, I'm going to put it out there. You know, when you say, hey, pick up the pace with this, we're posting. Are you out of just punishments yet?
Rob's been giving them to me one at a time, so I don't know how many.
I think we're up to 5. We did 5. So how many have you posted?
Well, yeah, we posted 4 and 5 because he gave me it as one thing. So
okay, then someone has to tell me these things, man.
Okay,
I don't got time to listen to my own podcasts. Okay, I'll get Maz on that tomorrow.
Ain't nobody got time for that. All right, Charlie Esther, where can people follow you?
And demand just punishment.
Demand justice.
Just punishments or toxic games.
I don't think it's
Oh, we'll try and upload it later. So maybe the Franklin Museum adventure did not get saved. We're gonna have to find out later. Anyway, watch for it. But if you would like to follow me on the Twitters, live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and maybe sometimes Krypton if I can figure out when it's on, and other shows that I might feel like tweeting at some point. Follow me at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser, like the 2 E's in the middle. And write to me in an old-fashioned email way, the way our Miles and Paz once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at thegmails.com.
All right.
That's Toxin Gamer.
Toxin Gamer, yeah. And Ray of Sunshine, who is dead inside Lilith Hellfire.
Yeah, if you nerds want to fight me, or you want to be dead inside just like me, at Lilith Hellfire. For everything else, at Adventures in FG. That's Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram, at Adventures in FG. And please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher service. It means a lot.
Stay tuned for upcoming specials like Action Comics 1000. Bendis. All right.
$8
And for another week, this has been the Capes and Lunatics. Oh, yes, and stay tuned. Episode 50. This is 47. Episode 50 will be 2-parter, big 2 round tables of Infinity War.
And Phil, who are we again?
Yeah, you.
And we are rushing it. We are the Capes.
And
the Lunatics.
Yeah, no, you said we are the Capes and Lunatics. You stepped on our lines, Phil. You are be a glory hog. We will not have this. This show.
Yeah, because I'm the one.
Democracy, but it is still a constitutional monarchy.
All right, I'm gonna do it because Lilith will never do it anymore. Batman 44. Catwoman goes shopping for a wedding dress in her own way.
Yeah, and chooses black because.
Does he steal it?
Yeah, of course. Deathstroke number 30. Who is the real father of Damian Wayne?
Uh-oh.
Nightwing 42. Ninja Action.